news, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it is The Boost by vidIQ and Tube Talk. I mean, we're all the things all at one place. I'm your host, Travis, here with the only one that y'all want to hear from based on the emails, Jen.
Oh, stop it.
I mean, that's mostly true. I don't know if it's completely true, but I said it, so I think
Sorry,
it makes
Dan.
it true. Yeah,
Sorry,
Dan.
Rob.
Sorry, Rob and Dan. We probably will hear from those guys again soon in the episodes because they keep asking to come on. So, but listen, this is a place to be. I get it. I understand why they want to do that.
It's the cool kid hangout.
It is, and I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna get cooler. So, we're gonna sprinkle a little surprise for them today, Jen. We're gonna tell them a little bit about some future plans, as we like to do here on the Boost. We'll talk about our own kind of like channel growth and everything. I think we're at 1,100 subscribers now, which is amazing. Excited about that. But I think in looking at the channel and the things we've been wanting to do, which is more podcasts. Jen and I were talking yesterday, and we decided on a strategy and a thing to do moving forward, which I think most of you are going to be super happy about. I think, unless we completely miscalculated, Jen, and we're just completely wrong.
Which is always possible. It's the, point of an experiment. We'll see.
That it is. But here's what we're going to do. You're going to get more Boost episodes, the Tube Talk episodes, every week. Not just like the segment. But it's going to be a little different because what's going to happen here is during these episodes, and probably this episode specifically, Jen, as I'm just now remembering.
Right.
We're going to shoot part of the videos that go on the main channel from within the podcast. So let me rewind a little bit. Jen and I, we get together a couple times a week, one to shoot this podcast, and then one to shoot the videos that go on the main vidIQ channel. Right, Jen? I mean, that's a lot of, we meet each other quite a bit during the
We do.
course of the week. Yeah.
We do. There's nobody I talk to more than Travis during
Which
the week.
is a scary thought because she's married. So that's just weird.
I even know what he's having for breakfast this morning.
This is actually a true statement. She's not lying. Okay. Here's where it gets interesting. So, in trying to unify the time that we have and be more efficient and also have more fun, if we're just going to be honest, have more fun, we're actually going to shoot 2 podcasts a week now. And within those podcasts, especially this one where we answer your questions, we'll actually be, and this will happen in this episode, we're actually going to shoot the raw footage of a video that's going to go on the main channel. Now, what that means is when we find an email that we're like, yeah, this one's going to go on the main channel, we're going to actually kind of not stop the podcast. We're just going to literally go, okay, Jen, we're going to do this for this, and then we're going to wave so the editor can see the part, and you're going to see behind the scenes. Y'all like that anyway. Y'all seem to like that stuff. We're going to shoot the video during the podcast, and you're going to hear it early, right? And then that video will eventually go on the main channel. So that
hopefully.
Well, yes, okay, that's fair. That's actually very fair. Hopefully we do a good enough job. Now, what that does is, because we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, that means we have time to do another podcast. So here's how we're going to do it. This podcast and the ones that'll go live on Mondays will be the ones like this, where we answer questions from your emails. Jen, tell them about the second podcast, which I know you've been really excited about kind of getting this format going for the second podcast.
The second
episode.
podcast, second type of
it's not
episode,
a different
not a second podcast,
Yeah,
same podcast.
Yeah.
It's just going to be more chit chat, things we want to talk about, just YouTube chats. And we just have some really fun ideas that, don't always come in the form of a question, just more of a deeper conversation, which we know that's why most of you are here anyways. You love the deeper chats about YouTube. All of our YouTube obsessed besties over here.
So you're gonna have 2 formats, one where you can submit your questions in and we'll answer them, and then another one where we're going to talk about specific things. And one of the episodes we're going to do, which I'll just a little sneak peek because I just love the title Jen came up with, this is why only your mom is watching your videos. And that's the type of discussions we'll do. We'll also do things like we'll have little mini debates. We're just going to have fun with that those episodes. I think it's going to be interesting. So more content for your ear holes, and if you're on YouTube, for your eye holes.
I like the debates. Not everything is so black and white. And
yes.
Obviously, Travis and I don't agree on everything.
Preach.
And
like what is the one thing? Oh, I know. We got to talk about this later in the week. What is it? Those little candy corn things, right? You like those?
I love candy corn.
Okay, no, we're not going
It is
there.
October 1st. It is. No, well, now it's the 2nd, but yesterday when it was October 1st, I was like, it's candy corn month.
All right, we're not going to talk about that here. Okay, anyway, let's get on to the YouTubery stuff. But just to know, you're going to have a lot more content coming to you. We just want to kind of give you a little bit of sneak peek of that. Okay, so as always, if you're new here, we do answer questions that are either emailed or texted to us. If you're listening to the voice only podcast, where we're on all platforms, whether it be Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasts, there's a little link at the top that says text message us, and we're going to take one of those messages right now. Here we go. Sup, Travis and Jen. I love you guys.
Oh my gosh, we love you.
Thank you for being awesome. I was wondering what you guys think of the A/B testing thumbnail feature on YouTube. I'm currently using it on my new video, and I'm afraid that it might be giving me less views and hurt my potential of a video going out. Should I just end the test early and let it cook? Your best friend sang.
Should I let it
cook? You know what?
I love this. I feel like this is already like one of those episodes that needs to be a standalone. I have strong feelings on this.
You think we should talk about should you not use? That's a good idea. Okay, so saying, here's what's going to happen. We're going to rewind as if we didn't read that email. We're going to do a little intro that will be used as part of the video podcast, of the main YouTube channel video. So what you're about to experience is a section of a video that we're going to release on the main video. So y'all get to see it first, and it'll be edited. So it won't be as if we do some ims and ahs and all the things I'm saying right now, going to be edited out. So let's, what we'll do here is we'll wave so the editor can see us waving.
Wait, remember what we decided?
Know. Oh, we're doing the thumbs up because you got the thing, right? You see the thumbs up.
No, we need 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. So that knows that the editor.
Give me the fireworks.
Yeah, well, there
Ta-da!
It is. For the audio podcast listeners, they're like, what is going on? If you watch on YouTube, you can see that anyway, it's a thing. Oh. So here we go. So what do we do? We're gonna say like we're gonna talk about A/B thumbing. Oh, okay. So like, what do you think about how do we intro this and then read the email?
I think that what we can do for this first one, as we kind of figured out, is like we can trim this section a little bit from the podcast, especially because it's the first question that we're doing.
Okay. Yeah. Because when they read it off, they're gonna highlight.
I mean, even for the podcast, like while we just actually figure out how we want to do this, if we need to, we can trim just because it's the first one.
Yeah.
That I don't want to lose retention in the podcast either.
I think people,
which
love
I was not expecting it to be the first one.
I didn't. Well, you don't want to pick this out. Well, don't look at me like that. All right, look, you're right though. Okay, let me do the little YouTube intro thing I usually do. If you've ever wondered what we think about the A/B thumbnail testing, see, so y'all get to see the whole. Oh
man, here we go.
I need to come up with a better way to do this. Maybe I do a voiceover after the fact or something. All right, look. Today on The Boost, we're going to talk about the A/B thumbnail testing and whether or not you should actually be using it. Is it hurting your views? We'll talk about it here on The Boost by vidIQ. All right, Jen, we just got it. There we go. We got it, right? Okay, here we go. All right, Jen, we just got a text message from one of our fans here. Let's take a look at what it says. Sup, Travis and Jen. I love you guys. Thank you for being awesome. I was wondering what you guys think of the A/B thumbnail testing feature on YouTube. I'm currently using it on my new video, and I'm afraid that it might be giving me less views and hurt my potential of the video going out. Should I just end it early and let it cook? That's a good question, Jen. What do we think about this?
Do we let it cook? I have strong feelings about this, actually, because I think this came out, and we all kind of ran with it because we were so happy and so excited that I don't know if we really set guidelines for ourselves as to when to use it and when not to use it, because I do think there is 1000% times where you should not use this.
Yeah, one of the things is we've been testing this on the main channel for a while. 9 times out of 10, the percentages are so similar that it's like irrelevant, right? Like it's pretty irrelevant. If you go into making a video knowing in advance what your thumbnail and title are going to be, then they're probably going to connect pretty well. And unless you're doing drastically different thumbnail styles, which by the way is kind of what A/B testing is for, then it's kind of pointless, right? Like otherwise, what's the point?
It's also pointless to not have 2 really good thumbnails. Like A/B testing is not to have one really good thumbnail that you're like, this is awesome, and then just, another thumbnail to throw in there, no matter how different they are. Because you have to think about it, that thumbnail is still going to be surfaced to people. And you will lose that click if it's not a good thumbnail. Just because it's adding, it's making the better thumbnail look better doesn't mean the worst option of the two is not still being shown to people and potentially losing that click because they're not going to get this video resurfaced, most likely with the other thumbnail then shown.
Yeah, well, this actually came up a couple of weeks ago, and I had to ask Vinay Ritchie about like what happens if the losing thumbnail, the people who did not click it, will it get resurfaced? And after the thumbnail is decided on the winner? And the answer is kind of no, not necessarily. Like it could, if it eventually does well, it could get resurfaced to those people who didn't click on it in the first place, but it doesn't automatically get retested against those people, despite the fact that the newer thumbnail might be better. So does that mean you should not use it? No. I mean, I think there's instances where you might have two really good thumbnail ideas and you're just not sure which one to go with. That's a great opportunity for it. Do you need to use it on every single video? No. And especially if you're a smaller creator, a lot of times you'll get inconclusive results because you won't have enough impressions. It takes a lot of impressions for the process to even figure out which is, quote, better. And the other thing is, thumbnail testing doesn't end the first 48 or 72 hours after you do it. The reality is you get different people coming to your channel over the course of weeks and months. Jen, speak to that.
Okay. If you want to really get into A/B testing, then you need to have like 3 A/B tests like set up. You should have that initial community test set up within those first like 3 days. You should have it set again for when your casual audience, the rest of your subscribers are seeing it within that, the rest of the week. And then a highly discoverable option past that time. Of course, this means the video has to be getting views that entire time and surfacing for that to actually make sense. So we're probably talking about this with larger channels, not necessarily a strategy for smaller channels, because that first one probably still won't even be done. But when we think about what makes a good discoverable thumbnail versus what makes a good community thumbnail, and when that video is being shown to both, those thumbnails look entirely different. So if you have a thumbnail that has your face on it, and then you have a thumbnail that doesn't, within those first 3 days, most likely the thumbnail with your face on it is going to win because your audience knows you and they're reacting to that thumbnail. But that doesn't necessarily give us the answer that we maybe wanted for the, longevity of the video, if you will.
I love that. That was really well explained. And again, nothing is definitive. Just because a thumbnail works today doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow, to Jen's point. And it doesn't mean even that the thumbnail that YouTube tells you is the best one is actually the best one. Especially when you're thinking about the videos live on YouTube potentially forever. Sometimes the majority of people who will ever see that thumbnail are actually would maybe potentially connect more with the thumbnail you didn't end up even using, which I think is probably the case more often than not. But if you like questions like that and getting your answers from us, Jen and Travis here at The Boost, check the link in the description where you can check out the entire podcast and some other answers we've given. See you next time.
I have a confession. Good. Wait, I do have a confession.
What?
I don't even use A/B testing anymore.
You don't? Why not?
Nope.
I don't really very often either. I think we still do. Do we? Wait, hold on. Do we on the main channel? I'm not even sure. See, this is the stuff that you subscribe to the podcast for. You get the truth, right? You get to hear all the other shenanigans in the other video, and then we're like, nah, we don't even use it.
I just don't use it. One, because I'm a bad creator and I don't want to make that many thumbnails.
Listen, I'm not hating on that. Let me take a look. Do we still do A/B testing? So I know on the Boost ones that go up, we don't. Let me see if we do anything recently. We used to for a while, and oh wait, that's ours. So that's definitely not one we did. How about this one? Oh yeah, that one had a thumbnail test. Yeah, so the main channel still used thumbnail tests pretty frequently. Not on everything though, but on most things. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Which I think is fair because every video you maybe don't have 2 great ideas for. Like we're talking about 2 great ideas, and sometimes you just have something so set in your mind as to like what your thumbnail is going to look like that you're just, you're just in on that idea, and then it comes to life and you're like, wow. Great job, me.
All right, let's get to this next text message. Hi, Jen, Travis, Dan, Rob, Michelle Obama, and Danny Phantom. What advice do you have for females in the YouTube space trying to grow and being sexualized? Okay, this is good. What way do you? This is a long text. By the way, we love the comments we get on the YouTube videos, and someone left a comment about, what was it? Boomer Travis, or what was it? Gen
Oh my
Z?
gosh, millennial Gen versus Boomer Travis text messages.
Yeah, because I was saying I can't imagine why people would do such long text messages. I keep forgetting they're not emails or text messages, because these messages we're reading right now are text messages. And someone in the comments picked up on that. And I love these like comments that we get that are about things that happen in the episode. Those things tickle us pink. We sit there and laugh about them all day. And as I'm reading this, I'm thinking the exact message of like, oh, Travis doesn't understand long text messages. Look, looks like an email. I'm surprised someone typed this on a phone. All right, let me get back to this. Sorry, this is a very, very specific and very, important subject. Let's get to it. Okay, let's start back to what advice would you give to females in the YouTube space trying to grow and being sexualized? I don't know if they mean are being sexualized, but we'll see. What way do you recommend on making friends in this space and knowing when to leave these friends? That sounds like life advice.
Ooh.
I'm not doing YouTube yet. However, I did a few years ago. I was a minor at the time and I had about 30,000 followers across all platforms. I was in the YouTube group with two of these people who had a lot more followers than I did. The streamer/YouTube members and their chats threatened to dox minors, and they sexualized me and others and threatened to show my face, even though they had never seen it. Even my own comments would sexualize me. This channel has been deactivated, and I do not regret this decision. I want to go back to YouTube. However, I'm nervous. And I want to make better friends this time, but I'm not sure the best way to go about it. Also, I don't know how to deal with being sexualized and seen in that way, because I know it's inevitable. Thanks for all you do. I've learned so much, and I'm glad I found you guys. This is crazy because I'm so glad that we have Jen on this episode, because Rob don't know nothing about being sexual. I mean, listen,
Well,
he's a
of
sexy
course,
dude.
Rob is sexualized over there on the main channel.
Bro, that dude, he looks like an egg, but I love him. But he looks like an egg. All right, look. No, he doesn't. I look like an egg. This is something that you've had to deal with, I think, in your content, or just as a woman in general, in the public eye. Talk to us about it. Speak to it, because I don't know nothing about it. Ain't no one looking at me.
It can be a slippery slope for people. It's very easy to lean into it and get more views. That's the bottom line. I have friends that do this. And I mean, they don't have a problem showing up on the internet that way, aside from the fact that when they don't do it, the views stop.
Yeah.
That's where you run into that. That's where you run into that issue. If you want to pursue that and make the best of the looks you were given, go for it. Do it. But you have to realize that the value you're delivering on the platform is being undermined in that sense. As for how to avoid it, I'm gonna be honest, I show up, I'm like a reverse catfish on some of my channels.
What does that even mean? What is a reverse catfish? We're definitely talking about this on Friday. I'm telling you, we're having a conversation.
I'm a reverse catfish.
What does that even mean? What is a reverse catfish? Bruh.
I show up to work looking like all nice. I put makeup on.
Bro.
I show up in some content where it looks like a semi just ran me over.
Oh my God. Bro, I've seen this person. I'm calling her person because I'm respecting her in every way. I'm not sexualizing her in any way. I've seen this person look like she got hit by a Mack truck and then caught a cold while getting hit by a Mack truck. And then after the Mack truck hit her, they stopped, pulled over, and were like, look, I'm sorry I hit you. Can you get underneath the wheels? I'm going to back up over top of you, and then I'm going to sprinkle some flu on you. And then after that, I'm going to snot all over you. And then they pull back, they back over you. And then Jen comes in on the live stream and is like, hey, let's do this video. I'm like, I don't know. You look like you got hit by a truck.
No. It's true, though. It's true. I mean, I don't have an issue showing up as who I am, whether that's like made up looking nice or it's like rolling out of bed. And I think that when you have a balance there, it makes potentially you're less sexualized.
This is why we're buddies, because I appreciate this about Jen. I do want to talk a little about some of this other parts. So friends and stuff. So I actually started my YouTube journey like many people, kind of quote by myself. But I quickly found a group of people that we actually ended up connecting on a Discord with. within my first year. One of those people works here, Jeff El Jefe Reviews. Obviously, Viper, who's been a part of this podcast. I met him at that time. John Prosser, who has a tech channel called Front Page Tech. We all kind of were in this Discord, and we all kind of like hung out and tried to help each other with how to grow on YouTube. It was that experience that made me create the Discord for vidIQ. So there's two Discords for vidIQ. There's one that's like the public where you can just go no matter what thing you have, and then the one that I created that one too, to come and think of it. But the other one that is more privatized, if you have boost level or above, where there's people in there that are really smart, that really want to help you grow, they're there 24/7. Like, it's really a great community there. I helped create that because I had such a good experience with that I wanted others to have that same experience. You need to surround yourself with like-minded people. And the other thing is not just like-minded people, but people that are even your betters. Like you did say, you had some people with larger followings, which is good because you want to learn from those people, right? You want to learn the pitfalls and everything. And what you've learned in your first go around is that everything isn't just cotton candy and rainbows. Like, there's another side to this, especially as a woman online. Like, it's a whole other thing that I'm so glad, like, my sister isn't an online influencer, because I feel like I'd just be upset the entire time, right? I wouldn't want people sexualizing my sisters. I would hate that, right? So there is the lean into it and just, take money, take the money from them. Go ahead. You're going to look at me, give me my money. That's one way to look at it. You do have to understand, though, that takes unless you're like, your mindset is like, I don't care what anyone says, it's all fake. It takes a toll on you after a while. Like, it really does. Even me. Like, I've had people make fun of the way I look and stuff in my comment section before, and I'm like, well, listen, I already know I'm a mess, so it doesn't really hurt my feelings at all. But at first it did. When I very first started, I'm like, these people don't know me. Like, why are they saying such mean things about me? And it's such a weird thing. So when your friends are no longer helping you move to the next level in your life, whether it be, in your job, on YouTube, personal growth, it's sometimes time to move on to another group who will, because those people are out there. By the way, you have Jen and I. We're your friends. So at least you got
friends.
Two. We're your friends.
I think.
Plus, we
jump
got
in the comment section.
Yeah.
That's how I've made, I think at this point, 90% of my friends are YouTubers, because we are the only people who speak the same language.
Preach.
It's so much easier to make genuine friendships when you wholeheartedly support someone and you show up on their channel as a viewer and an ally. Like, you're not competition. The platform doesn't work like that. You're not stealing views from each other. You're not just reaching out for a collab. Just show up, and when you enjoy people's comments, show up in the comments. Reach out to them on Instagram. Loved your last video. How'd you film this? Just start like a natural friendship, because you're doing the same thing. And I can say, personally, I respond to people that reach out for things like that versus people that just reach out not in the space. Because I'm like, oh, we're already connected. Like, they already have like a step up on just, being a stranger on the internet. And plus, you can go watch their whole life probably. And then you're like, oh,
you're just
I know
like
who
me.
you are.
You're just messed up as I am. So we got this text message through the audio podcast. So if you have never been to the YouTube channel, this person didn't leave their name. There's a link in the show notes. You can click and go to the YouTube channel, subscribe there, and you'll see the comment section is really, like, we keep a very positive and fun and engaging comment section. I love reading the comments whenever we release a new podcast, and there's some really great people there. So for sure, do that. And then, of course, if you have boost or above, come into the I think at some point, and this is a secret, I probably shouldn't say nothing, we're probably going to have our own Discord at some point or something. We're probably going to have our own thing.
That'd be fun. All our friends in one place.
Yes. I mean, if y'all would like that, say in the comments, like, hey, I would love that. So I'm toying around with the idea that we would have our own little personal community space. Well, which, by the way, YouTube is rolling out that new community feature thing. For people who don't know, YouTube is rolling out this community feature. It's not like the community tab. It's almost like its own little forum or something on YouTube, where you can have your community on YouTube, which is outside of the comments. So the problem with comments is they're segmented by video. This would be its own place that you would go to. That sounds amazing. I'm super excited about that. If we get that, of course, that's where we'll host it. But I don't know when that's going to come, so I'm kind of excited to to have a place where we can just drop by during the week, and when we're not doing a podcast, hang out with the folks that are here. We have some great people that have left us some great emails and stuff. I would love to meet those people. So we'll see. Okay. I just got a message in from one of the editors, so I think we're gonna be able to get this video edited right away. So this is great timing. Okay, here's another message. Okay, so this is the message from last week where we had the person from Chile. Remember, I was like, oh, it's so cool we got Chile. All right, here we go. Hello, Jen and Travis. Thank you for responding to my message. I was super excited, and I swear I was about to cry. What I meant is, if a creator of my niche is using music, is it safe to use it on my channel? But still, you understood. Yes, I'm from Chile. I knew you would have a problem pronouncing my name, but no problems. Again, thank you much. I'll see you when I have another question. Yeah, I apologize for that. I mean, I knew it too. If that makes
That's
a
so
difference.
funny.
Like, yeah, I'm not good at pronouncing stuff. But yeah, so that was a question about using copyrighted music stuff. So what they were saying was, I was excited, I was about to cry. If the creator in my niche is using music, it's safe to use it on my channel. Maybe, maybe not. The problem with it is, like I said before, ultimately, you can't tell what is protected or not just by the fact of it being on another channel. For example, you'll find many channels that are using like actual top 40 copyrighted music, but they're not getting paid for it at all, like at all. Yeah.
That's true. You could maybe use it. You just don't know what the revenue options are going to look like.
Yeah. Okay. Emails, theboost@vidIQ.com. So if you want to email us, the answer for that is theboost@vidIQ.com. Here we go.
Wow. You're not going to make them wait till the end again?
No, listen, last time I forgot. So I made it sound like I was being strategic, but I actually just forgot. I'm going to have you start reading some of these emails. You're over there with your little shenanigans. All right. Actually, I am going to have you start reading some of these emails. I think it'd probably sound better than hearing my voice all the darn time. I'm always on the screen because I'm talking all the time. I don't like that. We need to have you on the face.
So well, though.
No, it's not good. All right, here we go. From Kev. Hi, Jen, Travis, and vidIQ crew. Oh, vidIQ crew. Oh, let's go.
Oh.
Look, we get shook by some of the easiest stuff.
Seriously, though.
Well, the thing is, I forget constantly that our audience are creatives.
I was just going to say, we're like a company of creatives and nobody has thought of vidIQ crew.
We need to get a shirt like that. I'm going to
That's
put
what
that.
I'm saying. We should have had that for Vid Summit last year.
You're not wrong. I am right now going to put it in our Slack and say we need vidIQ crew shirts. I'm going to do it right now. Of our listeners just emailed in a great name. vidIQ crew. Okay.
Genius.
I'm going to say shirts, please. Let me edit that and say shirts, please. So if we end up getting shirts,
let's push hoodies.
I will. Yeah. Shirts and hoodies, please. If we do, I will get your address, Kevin. We'll send you one because that's pretty dope. Okay, here we go.
Love that.
They also put a winky face emoji at the end of that because they knew what they were doing.
They knew it was going to be a slam dunk.
They knew we were going to sit there and talk about it for 5 minutes when no one else really cares. Okay, here we go. I have a simple question which I know will require a long answer, but I figured if there's anyone who could explain it succinctly, it would be you guys. Deep breath. How can a creator influence impressions and reach? I posted a video on Tuesday of last week, and at the time of writing, Sunday, it's sitting at over 5,000 views and rising, with no sign of slowing down yet. One reason for this success is the video has been given a lot of exposure with a high level of impressions. A second video I posted on Saturday barely broke 50 views, but when I look at the impressions, it's receiving virtually no push. I understand, obviously, that CTR is a big factor, and it's something that I can influence directly by making videos people want to watch using engaging thumbnails, titles, in an appealing way. But when both videos have almost the identical CTR, and I understand exposure can influence that, I'm left wondering what can I do, if anything, to somehow increase the impressions on the second video on how YouTube decides to which individual videos to push. Thanks, ever for the support, encouragement, entertainment the show brings. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this. This is a good one. This is a tough one because without knowing what the content is, we can only make assumptions, and those assumptions might give us a wrong answer. But Jen, off the top of your head, just what he said, what would you say?
The idea. It's always going to come back to the idea. That's what I would say 90% of the time. It's, yes, your click-through rate, but your click-through rate works with so many other metrics, and you can't judge it just by that. And especially your click-through rate's going to drop as you get more impressions. So we're not able to judge it just by that. And a super high click-through rate is most likely community content anyways. So those work differently for different pieces of content, but most likely your second idea was not as good as your first one.
Very likely. Here's another thought to keep in mind whenever you have a video that does well and you want to continue the momentum. If you have a video you've put out and it does well and you haven't actually created the next video yet, but you recognize that, oh my gosh, this is actually doing really well for me. Put yourself in the shoes of the viewer that just watched that video. What is the next video they would want to see from you? 9 times out of 10, if you make that video, it will do well. 9 times out of 10. Every once in a while, I put one up and it just doesn't go anywhere. Like, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why I didn't do well. It just didn't do well.
That's what I was going to say too. It's like sometimes YouTube is just mad.
And I'm going to tell you that a lot of coaches won't tell you this, but I'll tell you it. God honest truth. There are times and there are videos that don't perform and I don't have an answer. And there are times and there are videos pop off super high and I don't have an answer. I would say I can explain 90% of most videos why they did well, but there are those edge cases that I don't know. YouTube be YouTube.
That's exactly what it is. At the end of the day, it's YouTube.
And I've even tested the theory with like videos that I think are a good idea. Or I just pulled my headphones out. So.
Oh, well, look at you go.
I can't actually hear you, but now hold on. There we go. All right. Now we're back. Technical problems are over. Okay. There are instances where I have tested a video idea that I thought was good that didn't do well at first. And then I wait a couple months and then release it again because it was an evergreen content and it still didn't do well. And I think like sometimes the idea is the problem, but every once in a while you will put in the time, you've done the research. It's like or better than the researched video idea, which we talk about here sometimes, which is go out, look for a video that's done well in your niche and then make your own version of it, right? You've done that research. You've done all the things. Travis, I did a really good thumbnail. It even looks better than the other one. And I did all these things. Everything that video did, I do better, and it still didn't go anywhere. And sometimes the answer is, I don't know.
Yep.
That's the most honest answer I can give. But 9 times out of 10, it'll work. Maybe you're the 10th time. Maybe that's what just happened. It could be.
I mean, everyone's going to have one of these on their channel. It's going to go both ways. You're outlier for top performer, you're underperformer. Sometimes there is just not an answer.
Well, we'll look back to even, for example, let's talk about even this podcast. So there's been for like 6 straight weeks or something like that. I mean, maybe even longer. We had like 1 out of 10s. Like every time we put up a podcast, 1 out of 10, better than the last time, better than last time. And then last couple of weeks, we saw the exact opposite happen. Like we're starting to get kind of lower views on the older podcasts. I think the subject matter is still just as good, and it's still Jen and Travis, so it's still the same people, but didn't do as well. That's YouTube. And by the way, also, this time of year, you tend to see a lot of people not getting the views that they're used to getting on the regular. And that's mainly because September tends to be a little bit slower with kids going back to school. It should start picking up again in October, November. So we should start seeing some big views for a lot of niches in the coming weeks and months. So listen, it's a thing. You're going to throw stuff out there. Some stuff's going to do better. But to answer your question as best we can, 9 times out of 10, it's the idea. If you really have done the work and it makes a great follow-up video, and really think critically about this, take yourself out of your own shoes, take your emotions out of it. If it's a great follow-up video to what you did, there's a lot of aspects as to why it might not have worked. You could, and I'm not suggesting you do this, but you could completely delete it, remove it, and then re-upload it again, and just in case there was a weird YouTube glitch, because that sometimes happens, and I'm not trying to feed the conspiracy theorists out there. Sometimes it happens and you re-upload it and it does better. Sometimes that does happen. So if you really are very sure that, yes, this is a great follow-up video, people want it, it just didn't get impressions, you can do that. Don't suggest doing it. I'm just saying you could. All right. Hopefully that helped, Ken. Here's the next one. And the subject is YouTube questions for the best YouTube help personalities online.
Oh.
Doom, doom, doom.
I want that also on a shirt.
I think that might be a really long shirt.
love this podcast. It feeds my ego. Just
It really does. Yeah, these people are trying to kill us with this. They're like, listen, if I just sauce them up a little bit, they're going to definitely answer my question. And you're right. We absolutely going to.
We do. We will.
Just glaze us a little bit, and we're going to do it. All right. Hi to the best YouTube guidance personalities on the internet. Got some questions for you on behalf of some creators that may be a bit deeper into their craft. Number one, how do you go about finding video editors for heavy edit projects? It's actually interesting. I am seeing very clearly there's a big bottleneck for the time spent, 10 to 15 hours. Fiverr is normally great, but for long-term work, the website numbers really adds up, and many have 1 hour maximum clips allowed to upload. Gameplay can be several hours worth of recording that are cut down to match recorded and audio tracks. So before I read any more questions, let me try to quickly answer this because he asked other things too. Word of mouth is your best instance here. If you're using Fiverr stuff, it's like it is hit or miss. Word of mouth is a good place. The editor that does the boost stuff is looking for new clients. If that's something you're really interested in, just send another email and just say, Travis, can you give me the contact information for that editor? That's fine. I'll definitely pass them along. This is something for when you get to the point where you're creating a lot of content and you don't necessarily love editing. I'm good at it. I used to edit professionally and stuff. I'm okay. I say I'm okay at it. And sometimes I like it. But for the most part, if I could pass my editing off to someone else, I would happily do that. When you get to that point in your career where you're like, I can actually use a little bit of money to offset this, whether it be, and by the way, that should be one of the first things you do as you start making money, is reinvest in yourself, whether it be getting someone who has a strength that you don't have. If your organizational skills are terrible, find someone who does organizational stuff on the side and will help you organize your email box. Maybe someone who will help you get sponsorship opportunities, whoever that person, or an editor, or whatever it is. Immediately try to do that, because it will then help ramp your stuff up faster and help you, believe it or not, could help you grow faster. And in this particular case, editors are hard. Have you ever had an external editor for any of your stuff, Jen?
My husband.
Oh, well, so you just got to marry somebody.
He's free.
Yeah, well, that kind of doesn't count. I mean,
I have friends that do editing, and you could find an editor for what you're like. One of my friends primarily does a first cut edits only.
Oh.
And you send her all of your bulk content. She'll cut it down to a point where now it's fun for you to edit, and then put your own spin on it. It's kind of like that step in between people who are like, I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to lose my creativity, but like, I don't want to sit through my hours of footage. So like, that's one thing that she offers that is like a home run for so many people who don't want to do the full edit.
Mm-hmm.
So again, yeah, word of mouth type of situation where like it kind of goes back to the question about making friends.
Yeah.
Making friends in the space. Their friends who have editors, who have thumbnail artists, who, just dive deep in, and you'll be amazed at what you can learn, what kind of networking you can do, as well as showing up to events like Vid Summit and things where you're going to just naturally meet only people within the industry and be able to just get names and ideas. But I think it's really tough to find someone just on a listing on Fiverr or YT Jobs or something.
I think finding people who can give you word of mouth, recommendations. So the more friends you make in your niche and other creators, the more opportunity you'll have to find those people. Like I said, if you actually are looking for someone, let me know. The person who does a lot of the boost stuff is looking for new clients. Number 2. What Patreon or product offerings have you seen that are both valuable to the audience, but also worth the time invested? For instance, I have seen people release projects early to the members, but as a viewer, that is not something I would find interesting enough. Merch is always great, but for that, I would be more keen to do completely custom stuff and make it its own proper brand, not to print on demand runs if possible. Is there a cool method to find people or business that have experienced merchandising this to bring these designs to life? So if you're talking about merch stuff specifically, there are companies that do this. And I one of my friends has actually done this thing, and he told me that he sold out his merch run by doing the limited time merch thing rather than a forever merch. Like, you can buy the shirt whenever you want, it'll be here forever, and there's not as much of an impetus that, like, this shirt is only alive for 14 days. You got 14 days to buy it, and that seemed to work really well from what he told me, and I've heard other people say the same. I personally am too lazy to do that. I got merch. If you want it, get it. If not, I don't care. But I think there's companies that help you to do that. I don't know specifically of one. Jen, do you have friends and stuff that do merch in any kind of way like this? Like higher end stuff?
It's not a good answer, but I did a small run of merch like that, but I made them myself.
Wow. Well, here's the thing about that. So
it's not a helpful answer, but go to Michael's, get yourself a little Cricut, and then make your own merch like me.
Well, here's the thing. Depending on how you think about this, and actually it's not a terrible idea, because you do want something from the creator. Think about, again, the point of the person putting down the money. Why are they giving you money? They're giving you money to make a deeper connection. I actually believe for Patreon, you could just do behind the scenes stuff, and that's probably more than enough. You actually probably don't need any more. Just read, we read your emails and stuff, and people seem to love that. We could probably charge for that if we really wanted to, but we're never going to do that. So I feel like there are ways that you can use Patreon or whatever to just communicate with your community deeper in a way that only they can see there, and you'd probably be fine. But if you want to do some type of merchandise stuff, something that with a personal touch, at least while it's still small, is even more valuable, and you can charge even more because it comes from you. I think it really depends on kind of what your niche and what your audience is willing to pay for. So definitely do some polls on your community tab, and it'll help with that.
Don't overthink it, though. I have this conversation. It's probably one of the most popular conversations I have with my creators of, like, you make a Patreon, you offer the world and more, where it's like, no, stop it. People just genuinely want to support you. That's the goal of these websites, is to support your favorite creators. Same with channel members. I mean, channel members makes it easy now, where you can have only content for channel members and have that scheduled out early for channel members. So that's like its own great feature in itself. But like Patreon, people literally just sign up for a small amount of money and just be like, I love you, make good videos. You don't have to give them their own videos, a merch line, a discount on the merch line, a handwritten letter once a month, all for like $1.99. Like, no, just keep it very simple. You'll be surprised. You're just loved. You can just small offerings. Still keep your time in mind.
This last question is definitely for you. Number 3, would you have any recommendations to go about becoming an absolute superstar of storytelling, story design and telling, books, formal, informal courses, YouTube channels to binge? I think we're talking about what? Say it.
Storytelling?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay, lots of
we can
books.
start with Primal Branding, too.
Primal Branding is a great book, but storytelling books... you're definitely, should we just put links to the books?
We could. I think another thing is if you are a Boost member or above, I'm going to screen share. So if you're on YouTube, you're going to see this. If you're not on YouTube, you're not going to see this.
So you definitely want to do Storyworthy by Matthew Dix. I make all of my creators. I think that book changed my life. Audiobook only. He narrates it, and he's a professional storyteller.
Oh.
Don't buy it in paper, which I would never say, like, ever. But, like, audiobook is the way to go for that. I've listened to it several times. I go to Story Slams all the time. You can see if you live near a city. You can see if you have, like, a moth Story Slam near you. They're super fun. They're just, like, storytelling competitions, and people can just... It's like a thing of, like, slam poetry. Except it's storytelling. And there's usually a theme to the night, and you can listen to people tell stories. And it's awesome. Anybody can do it. Some people are really good at it. Some people it's their first time, and it's obvious that it's their first time, but they're still up there doing it. And then study, hero's journey, 3-act story structure. There's so many resources, but definitely I would start with Matthew Dick's book. Definitely.
I love that.
Definitely.
All right. So if you have Boost or above, actually, there's some other resources here at vidIQ. If you go to vidIQ.com, log in, and then go down to the bottom here where it says events. You can see my screen if you're watching on YouTube. We have a kind of a recent one, how to storytell better in 60 seconds. And then there's another one with primal branding that when I was running group coaching. So all these videos back here are the group coaching stuff that I used to do. And we have a couple of sessions about storytelling in here. And they're all available to you right now. Again, if you have the Boost plan or above, which all of you listening should. It's like $10 a month or something. It's ridiculously cheap. You'll have access to all of this, and you can go back. And by the way, this used to be a program that was $99 a month. All this stuff, all these videos used to be locked behind the $99 a month offering, but now you get access to it right now. Tons of great information. There's a couple storytelling options here, and I'm very proud of what we were able to do with that community. Okay. And then I'm not jumping into monetization, but the forward thinking is something I always find exciting. Keen to hear your thoughts on this stuff since you've probably seen good and bad ways to execute. Thanks so much for producing podcast episodes. I love listening to them and getting into the hustle zone. That was from Braden.
Thanks,
Two
Braden.
more.
The hustle zone. I like that too.
The hustle zone. Okay, here we go. Boostalicious is the subject name for this.
Okay, the hoodie design for that is like old school mall airbrush. That's, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 90s. Let's go. That's the 90s vibe. I'm
aging myself now. I didn't say that. Guys, I swear I'm Gen Z.
She's totally Gen 18. Hi, Boost Gang, Travis, Jen, Rob, Dan, John, etc. Speaking of John, I mentioned him recently in a comment. You have him to have him on at least as. Wait, hold on.
Huh?
I mentioned him previously in a comment. You have to get him on at least, unlike someone else, not mentioning any names, Rob, so he can handle live stream on his own. This guy's a superhero without a cape. So yeah, by the way, before I can read this, I talked to John. He is interested in coming on. He will probably jump on in one of our not. I don't know if we'll have him in the episodes where we answer questions like this one. We might have him in one of those other episodes. I don't know. We'll see. By the way, Jen, did you know the last time Dan was on, he didn't wear a visitor badge? Just stirring the pot, Neil.
Why is everyone so funny?
Listen, we have the best listeners in the history of any podcast.
Definitely not getting one made for Dan.
You know, it's actually not a bad idea.
That's what I'm saying right now.
I should get a sticker and have it put it on there. Okay, here we go. Since I last emailed, everyone's messaging me today on Slack while I'm doing these things. It's so crazy. Okay, since I last emailed, I have started using more camera angles in the workshop garage using my vlog camera, mobile phone, original Osmo Pocket. The fun part was trying to link all the audio up on different clips. Now, real quick, for people who don't remember, many episodes ago, Neil asked us about shooting stuff, and I recommended using everything possible that has a camera to get as many angles on what he does as possible because I think it makes it more interesting. So that's what he's referring to. The video I'm currently making is hand carving a key ring that has the YouTube play button on it. If I made extra, would you like one, say, in the color to match your microphones? Oh, wait, he's offering us one?
Yes.
What? Yeah, I
yes,
absolutely
please.
would. Heck
yes,
yeah.
please.
I'm sorry, something free that has the design? Absolutely. Actually, even better if you put the boost play button on it, something like that. Yeah, listen, whatever you want to do.
Okay, Travis, relax.
I know, listen.
Travis, actually, can you customize it a little bit more?
Can you can you make a gold inset and make a diamond in the middle? Yes, please. No, that would be amazing. I would love to have that. We would definitely show it on the
oh my
on the
God,
YouTube
we
version.
would definitely show it off.
Absolutely. No, I would love that. And if you have the video of making it, we can react to it. Because again, doing more content here, one of the things I would love to do is react to some of y'all guys' videos just as like supplemental stuff as we get more time. So yeah, that's cool. Okay. I suppose I need to think of a question. Otherwise, it may seem like I'm stalking you both. I see you laughing, Jen. Like as soon as you said, I see you laughing, Jen. Yes, right. Most of my videos I post in the last 2 weeks apart due for my other commitments. But at the moment, I'm going to a spell where I'm able to post weekly. Oh, will it have a major impact if I go through some periods of time where I can only post fortnightly, which is every 2 weeks, and then after that, go back to weekly posting? Cheers. So I think what I'm going to do, and this is from Neil, I think that's what the name of this podcast episode will be, because is posting, because people ask this question all the time, consistency, Is consistency key? Yes and no.
Same answer.
Yeah, it's gray, because the most consistent thing on the channel that makes it successful is the content, not necessarily when you post the content. It's consistently good content wins all the time.
Amen.
The week and the day and stuff, it's nice that we post the podcast on Mondays, but sometimes we slip. Like things happen, life happens.
Yeah.
But y'all still show up. What were you gonna say, Jen?
I think every creator should have a day they aim to post to keep themselves accountable. If you naturally keep yourself accountable and you're, trying to put one video out a week, the day, the time doesn't matter. It's for your community at the end of the day. When you post is so that people can show up and watch it when you post. It doesn't determine what a video is going to do after that. If you miss a week, your channel's not going to die. But like Travis said, the consistency of the content is what's important. And if that means uploading every other week or once a month with the same quality of content for your audience, then that's what it looks like for you. Obviously, the more you upload, the more chances you have at content performing better if the content's good. There is no actual right answer.
Right.
There is actually no answer.
Because here's the thing. Be wary of anyone who tells you anything definitively about the way YouTube works. I mean, there are some things that definitively work a certain way, right? But even someone to say something like, well, if you upload a video, you'll get a view. Listen, I've seen videos that are up for years and don't have zero views. So that's false, right? Almost everything has a but to it. So, but one thing you can say pretty safely is if you're doing enough good content, eventually it usually gets found by somebody, even if it's not a lot of people, at least by somebody. And worrying about whether you posted it on a Wednesday or weeks later, or if you did 2 weeks straight of a bunch of content, and then you got to remember that most views on videos, generally speaking, happen months and even sometimes years after the thing was uploaded. So it becomes very irrelevant for the overall performance of the video, whether it was done in a string, unless it is time restricted. In other words, it's a news thing. It's something that only is relevant in a very short amount of time. If you're talking about just evergreen stuff, that stuff can happen anytime, right?
If you're talking about Diddy stuff, the time is
it's
now.
Right now. It's right now. So you got to talk about it right now at this very
Stop,
moment.
I can't get off TikTok with the Diddy stuff.
Bro, just this is the time. A year from now might not matter, right? Who knows? But the thing is that ultimately, if you're doing evergreen stuff, this is not something you need to worry about. If you can put more content out, it's always helpful. But it's not something you need to worry about. Now, if you're a news-related channel, or even in some aspects, certain video game channels and certain tech channels where the information that you're going over is maybe very specific to something that's really hot now, and in 6 months from now it won't be, that it's different. You need to put it out as much as you can while it's hot. Try to be first if you can. But other than that, most creators that we're talking to on this channel, don't worry about it.
It's not important. Skip the week. Go on vacation. Don't batch the half quality content because you're scared to miss an upload.
Yeah,
just
listen, if you want to do this keyring thing, I'm down for it. I don't want to make it seem weird like we're asking things from our viewers, because I'm not asking. But since you're offering, I say yes. When they're ready to go, just send us another email and we'll get you addresses to send it to. I think that's amazing. We thank you, Neil. That's very, very kind of you.
You rock, Neil.
We greatly appreciate you.
I'm looking forward to someone sending our Boost Delish airbrushed hoodies, though.
with a big peach or something. It's a Boost Delish. Oh my God. Anyway, let's stop before we get kicked out of here.
Just kidding. Oh my gosh. Can't be serious.
Last message. Where is my niche in the YouTube ecosystem? Oh, I love this.
Ooh.
Hi, Gen 18. Travis, and whatever beings and non-existent thinkers are present on the podcast today. I love the podcast and look forward to whenever it releases.
Whenever it releases.
That's true. Listen, here's the thing. Oh, by the way, the interesting thing about this email is that it's completely it looks like someone did it on a typewriter. So the font they're using is like a typewriter font. Very interesting. You don't see that very often. I make game development related content for YouTube. I'm trying to find multiple sub niches to fit my channel, but I don't know how to do this. One way I might is by experimenting by releasing different videos, but I realize I may be dealing with subgenres that I like rather than am good at making. Oh, as YouTuber people who have some experience, have any of y'all had this problem? And if so, how do you balance it? Also, can y'all explain the vodcast inside jokes? Still trying to understand that one. Thanks for your support. P.S. Billy is watching. Yeah. So, okay. Well, there's a lot of inside jokes.
First of all, this question went right over my head.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. Let's answer the question we can answer, and then we'll see if we can answer the other question. There's a lot of inside jokes here, and most of those go back to previous episodes. Vodcast, I don't even consider it a joke. It's just we didn't know that the word vodcast is an actual word, and it actually is what we're doing. It's a video podcast.
Some experts we are.
Someone emailed us telling us we had a vodcast. I thought it was a joke. I thought they just throw together the word, and then I Googled it, and it's an actual word. I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing. We've been doing it all this time. All right, so that's that answer. Okay, so for this, he's doing game-related. It's funny because we just talked about someone who had a game develop-related content for YouTube. So his biggest question is, I may be dealing with subgenres that I like making rather than am good at making. And in some ways, this goes back to that email last week where it was like,
instead of making, say this.
Yeah, instead of making my content interesting, I need to make interesting content. And my guess is, I don't know if he heard that that podcast before he emailed this or not. I'm not sure. But to me, that's the answer. You got to concentrate on making interesting content rather than trying to make your content interesting if you want it to grow. If you really just want to be passionate about making, and I want to be clear about this, while we do give advice to help grow your channel, it doesn't mean you can't just do stuff you want to do and enjoy doing. Sometimes we'll give advice that's like, oh, well, that doesn't connect with the stuff that I'm doing that I really like doing. I got to do this if I want to grow.
No. Just remember, rules are always meant to be broken. Always. And it depends what your goal is for each video. Every video doesn't have to try to be the most discoverable video in the entire world. YouTube is a place to have fun too. And if any chance you're not having fun with your content anymore, you got to reevaluate.
Yeah. And I think it's really important because as we're seeing in some of these emails, like the email earlier from the person who hasn't even restarted YouTube. They're like, they found the YouTube podcast. They haven't even restarted their YouTube channel yet. That we're seeing a lot of people earlier in their journeys. And I want to just be clear when I speak to you and I say this. YouTube can be potentially great. It can be very stressful. It can be anxiety inducing. It can be all these things.
Super toxic.
Super toxic. It can be all these things all at once. It also can be freeing, which is amazing. When you're early on in your journey, you need to fall in love with whatever it is you're doing. Once you have found something you've fallen in love with, like that you just can't wait to do, then you can try to figure out strategies around it. For people that are trying to make these mega channels right off the bat, sometimes some people do get lucky. Listen, there are people out there that throw up a video, gets 1 million views on the very first video. Like that happens. Then again,
it's not always for the best. Don't let those people fool you.
That's true.
It's not always for the best.
Not only that, people win the lottery all the time, but that's not me. I mean,
there is a YouTube lottery.
There is.
There is.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. But having said all that, you got to prepare for what is most realistic, which is you're going to put out a bunch of content no one's going to see for a long time. You have to be happy with it. You have to be proud of it. You have to enjoy it. Like, for example, this channel in and of itself, the podcast channel, we know that over time, all these videos are going to get more and more views. We're giving good content. People like it. It's going to go. Right now, most of the videos that we do podcast here on the YouTube channel, the audio podcast listeners is much bigger, but for the YouTube channel, it's like 300 to 500 views per video as we speak right now. Again, a year from now, they're all going to have more views. But I'm okay with that because we're having so much fun.
So much fun.
Jen and I talk about this podcast all the time.
It's never going to be as good as it is now.
Right. So to be honest, even if the views never got any bigger, I'm kind of happy doing what I'm doing right now. So
same.
That's exactly where the magic is. That's the magic.
Yeah. It's just perfectly said.
Yeah. And we're happy to be here for all of y'all. We thank you so much for joining us on another incredible episode. So to end the podcast like we always do, we'll talk about the things we've been looking at on YouTube that have been interesting over the last week. You go first because I think I went first last time, and I got to look at my history to make sure I don't.
I got to look at my history too.
My history. I got a whole bunch of messages waiting for me in Slack too. Jeez. They never mess with me when I'm doing pop. Of course, we never record on what is this, a Wednesday? What day
I
is
know,
today?
I'm like, why do I feel like we just did this?
Well, I'll tell you what I did watch this weekend. It was took a lot of my time. And sometimes I'll be, well, you know what? No, here's what I'm going to do.
What? What are you going to do?
So I'm just going to talk about what happened yesterday instead, because this is part of the same thing. So
do I know what happened yesterday?
Yeah, because you were there. You and I were talking about trying to record. This is why we're doing the podcast like the way we did it today, which is we recorded an actual episode within this podcast. Yesterday, we were about to record a video, and we decided to not do it and then do what we're doing today. In that, what we were looking for were interesting YouTube channels. And one of the YouTube channels I found while doing research for that is a channel called Technology Connections. And the video that I saw from it are power outlets are topsy-turvy, but doesn't matter. And what that means is it's upside down. So the thumbnail is a power outlet that looks normal, but there's an image next to it that goes, this is upside down. Now, for anyone who lives in America, and of course we have people who live all over the world, so their power outlets look different. We have two prongs and then like a little hole at the bottom. And that's what you see when you go in any house or anything, that's what it looks like. But apparently that's upside down. This video is about that. Now, when I say that out loud, it's like, why would you ever want to watch that? Again, I wasn't sure that I did. I just was researching the channel. That's a good video. I was like 2.5 minutes in. I'm like, I want to watch this whole video about why these things are upside down. This just goes to prove if you are a good storyteller and if the subject is interesting enough, you can talk about the most mundane stuff and have people just want to watch it to the end. It was a phenomenal. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really well done. And let me. I'm sure the comments are really funny. Let me see if I can find one. Let's see. Then when I took out, yeah. So there's just, a lot of people are just talking about like, almost spit my tea across the room when someone said outside of Boston, most people don't play throw the knives at the wall. So the thing, they interspersed like humor into the video. So you're actually being educated, but he's making funny jokes along the way. Anyway, all that to say, that was a pretty cool video. What about you?
Well, I fell into the classic YouTube wormhole, and I found a channel called Crazy Plant Guy. Needless to say, I'm a rather new plant mom.
That's right. You asked about it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, right?
I watched a lot. I don't even think he's currently creating content. I watched a lot of videos on Sunday, and I decided that because of that, I would go out and buy all new soil for my plants as they pop them off.
Oh my God.
And today one of my plants died. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but his content was great. My plant is dead. And I probably am going to look for another creator on now how to revive my drowning, overwatered plants.
R.I.P. Jen's plant, which I know will come into context. Someone in the email next week is going to talk about Jen's dead plant.
Here I thought I was a plant mom, and gosh, I'm more like a irresponsible babysitter at this point.
My God. Jen's plants are in need of your help. Please send $3.99 to the following P.O. box. We can help feed one of Jen's plants and keep it from dying, because she is terrible at this whole thing she does. Anyway, thank you for joining us. And again, the next episode you will hear will probably not be a Q&A episode. It's going to be an episode that we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, where we're just going to talk about a subject. So don't get confused if you're like, wait a minute, you're not answering questions. We're just giving you more content. So hopefully you enjoy that. If it's something that you want, some of you have said you want more episodes. I would like to hear from even more people. If that's the case, you can leave a comment in the YouTube video, or you can use a little text message there and just tell us, hey, I'm not asking a question. I just want to let you know I really enjoy the more episodes, whatever it is. Or you don't enjoy it. Let me know. We want to know.
No, don't tell us if you don't enjoy it. That's not nice.
I lied when I just said tell us.
Don't say that.
Just tell us good things.
We can't handle criticism. We're just YouTubers over here.
Jen's over here murdering plants and
left and right.
And I'm over here hangry, so it's a bad situation right now. Anyway, that's it for us this week. We'll see you next time.